This episode is brought to you by SRB Field Rests, Buck Nasty Deer Lore, and French Creek Game Calls.
Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of Timberbucks Talk. I am your host, and today I have my co-host, Chris.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah. And today, well, we got a great show for you today. I say it every time, but
yeah, we've got a really cool topic I think that you guys are going to find very interesting, all our viewers and listeners out there.
Right. So here's the topic. Obviously, it's important to get your son or daughter introduced to the outdoors and carry on that outdoor tradition that was passed down to us when we were young. But the question is, here's the topic, ladies and gentlemen. How young should you introduce your son or daughter to hunting? Okay? Or fishing. Let's talk about fishing too. I don't know. So we're going to pick your brain a little bit, make you think. Hell, we might even piss you off. I don't know what we're going to do today. But Chris, are you ready?
Yep, watch out for the trigger warnings out there, everybody.
Woo! Here we go. Let's talk about it. Timber Talk. Timberbucks Talk. I'll just preach on. Talk. Tell me what is on your mind. Tell me. So, how young can your child be to start hunting or fishing?
Yep, and I've got the first question here. Actually, let me get on my paper.
Get that paper.
I got it.
You don't want to be fact checked.
One of our viewers here asked a simple question of, wouldn't that depend on when gun safety courses are allowed for children? What age is the beginning age for that? It's an interesting question.
Interesting.
What do you think of that, Master Hunter Paul?
Master. Well, I think everything comes down first. First is parents' decision. I think that is the key thing, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. I mean, it is very critical for both parents involved in a child's life, or whatever that scenario. I guess I should say both guardians in the child's life or guardian. It's ultimately their decision. It's their decision of if they feel that their child is ready for this, because there are a lot of factors that you have to think about when you get into this kind of thing.
Maturity's one.
Maturity is a big one. And basically, ultimately, how far the parent has kind of raised the child regarding life things.
Yeah, because they know as a parent, and I could speak as a parent, and you could speak as a parent, you know how your son or daughter's maturity level. I mean, if Billy's out there eating dirt and putting his finger in places he shouldn't, well, maybe Billy needs to hold off on that hunting and fishing stuff, huh? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you're going to know your child better than anyone.
Correct.
We're not going to come here and be able to tell you, oh, this is the magical age of when you should start. Because, again, everybody is different. Right. That's what's great about everything is that, everyone has their own pace. There is no wrong answer, except when you're trying to force to do something that you're not ready to do.
Right. I will say, well, us being girl dads, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Girls do mature a little bit more. And I'm not trying to make you mad out there, dads, but girls do mature a lot faster than boys do. It is. Exactly.
But the other factor that you want to bring into is also girls are more empathetic when it comes to life. Big exactly. I mean, it just comes down to, if your daughter sees, an animal, and that could be anything, even a frog die, they're going to be possibly a little more sad regarding that compared to a boy who just goes over to mine. Is that in a situation for all children? Absolutely not. You're always going to have that other situation of, I know my daughter doesn't care that, a chicken's head got cut off in front of me because they were raised on a farm. Well, yeah. Well, then in your case, you're going to be right, but we're seeing overall generalities. We're seeing statistically, overwhelming population.
Right.
That's what we're basically using generalizations, but generalizations is, again, may not pertain to your situation. And that's why we say, as you guys are viewing us on YouTube out there, hello, everybody. Hey, and you guys are listening to us on Spotify and the podcast. Hello, all you viewers, listeners.
Yeah.
All of you out there. Yes.
Hello.
But, that ultimately you're going to have your own special circumstances and you're going to have to make your own personal decisions on what this is. We're just giving you things to think about. Again, gun safety is going to be a big one. How, like I said, now life, where are you going to, where do they understand life and death? Have you had that conversation with them?
Good point.
That's a big one because again, if you're going out on a hunt and you're about to kill, a doe or a buck, and they haven't been having that talk to, that is extremely traumatic to do to a child, and they're not going to be ready for something like that.
Bambi's dead.
Yeah, that's not what we encourage to do or we want to do. We don't want to traumatize a child because one, not only are they going to be traumatized for life of it, two is just you're taking that magical situation of hunting away from them, and you're traumatizing, so they'll never want to do it again. Exactly. Everyone has that one traumatizing experience in life with something. Right. I'm not talking about just hunting, but I'm talking about maybe they were swimming and they almost drowned, or maybe they went up on on a rock real high up and they almost fell. And now they're terrified of heights, or now they're afraid to swim. Same thing goes for hunting. They weren't ready, and you went and you sent them into something that they weren't mentally prepared for, and now they're terrified of it.
You can look at it like if you're, I don't know, older, you maybe grandma or grandpa passed away. You got to kind of explain that situation before you bring them into, the funeral home, exactly. And see them there. So that is a great point. With being a parent, right? So my wife and I, we had this conversation because, me, I'm like, gun ho, let's go hunting. Everybody should hunt kind of thing. But my wife had to be like, yo, slow your roll just a little bit, because she was like, we discussed it. I said, well, my daughter's 6 now. Okay. And I said, well, why don't you let me take her out and we'll sit in a blind and, bring some snacks and stuff and, just kind of introduce her to hunting. And she was like, yeah, but you got a firearm, you got a bow. I just don't think she's old enough or ready for that. And let's give it a couple more years. I'm like, okay, all right. But on your perspective, what do you think, Chris? What's your deal?
Like I said, it just depends on the child. In my situation, I have an 8-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. And she I haven't even introduced her to firearms until this year, and when I say introduced, I don't mean she handled or shot from it. Right. I just showed her, hey, this is a .22 rifle. Uh-huh. This can be extremely dangerous. And she is extremely terrified of the rifle, to be honest. And like I said this before, I would rather, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me in this, I'd rather have someone be afraid of a firearm beginning when they're starting to handle it compared to, oh, it's a toy, let me just walk around with it and squeeze the trigger and not think about anything. I'd rather them have extreme fear of it and learn to respect it. Because again, the second you lose respect for that firearm, that's when something bad can happen to not even just you. It could be someone next to you. It's just extremely dangerous if you're not respectful of the weapon. Now, I know, again, a lot of hunters that listen to us are over like, oh, yeah, duh, Chris, we already know this. You also have to understand, we have a lot of new viewership. It comes in every day. A lot of people just entering the hunter's world, just entering the outdoors sportsman world, just now even learning this to handle guns. And they might be in their 20s, in their 30s even, has never even handled a firearm, and they just want to start doing this. And those are the people that we're also talking to out there.
Right. Well, there's also the hunter safety course you brought up just briefly. Yes. Now, if in West Virginia, if you were born before 1975, I believe, you can fact check me, we don't care. But if you were born before then, you don't need to get a hunter safety course, right? It's recommended that everyone does. And we recommend everyone listening out there, you should go. But,
absolutely,
to purchase a hunting license after that, if you were born in 76 and on, you need to show a hunter's safety card to even purchase a hunting license. And I think that's a great thing. And, don't think, that you can't learn anything, because you can learn anything by doing anything. You learn something new every day. I'm telling you, if you're not, you ain't living life, son. You need to just go out there. So if your son or daughter's getting to that age and you want to kind of, maybe go with them and help them out with these classes, you may learn something. And I think it'd be great for the whole family to go do that, because they don't just talk about hunting. Okay. They talk about how to properly handle a firearm or a pistol. And that's great, especially if you have home defense, right? So home defense, you don't want your kids picking up that gun. You want them to say, oh, there's a gun. Let me go get an adult. You know,
Exactly.
they cover that. And that's also a good thing. So maybe you might not want to go hunting. Maybe you don't want your son or daughter to go hunting. But I think taking that course kind of teaches you, hey, there's about the safety of a firearm.
Exactly. Basically, even if, like you said, you can just take away anything. If you take away anything from our podcast in this episode today, that should be the number one you take away from is gun safety.
Absolutely.
Hunter's course, gun safety courses, and treating the firearm with respect, and teaching your children to treat a firearm with uttermost respect.
Absolutely. We do that when we go hunting.
Absolutely, we do.
When we go hunting and filming together, and Chris and I, we're like partners in crime when it comes to filming.
Yes.
Because we're always together. We discuss the safety aspects, whether it's being in a tree, having safety harness, shooting. Even when you got another guy or gal up there in the tree with you and they're filming, look, you got to know where you're pointing that gun. And you got to, there's a lot of safety that you got to go over when you're hunting, especially when there's two of you. You know? It's not like I'm going to tell you a little story. Paulie, I got to tell a story.
Oh, here we go.
I got to tell. Well, growing up with me, my dad, I think I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, something like that. I would go in the woods with him. I'd carry his gun. Now, I didn't shoot it. Okay. I was just child labor carrying it up and down the foothills of West Virginia. You know what I'm saying, Chris? You know my dad, right?
Absolutely.
So I'd be the one carrying the gun around. And when he saw a deer, he'd be like, hand me that gun, boy. And you better be quick, But I never had my finger on the hammer. I never had my finger on the trigger because he taught me that barrel better be pointed away from both of us or you're getting a whooping. You know what I mean? And you know how my dad was. My dad's like the John Wayne. He came from the John Wayne era. You know what I mean? You want to learn how to swim? Pick you up, throw you in the lake. You're going to learn how to swim or you're going to die. Kind of thing. Yeah. But when it came to gun safety, whether it was loading, the ammo in the gun or shooting a bow, you always pointed that barrel away from somebody, right? And it kind of taught me, all the safety aspects before I even went to this class, but I did take that class, I had to. I had to take that class because I'm going to be honest with you. I went fishing one day and a wonderful game warden decided to catch me. And I didn't know the age that you had to have a fishing
You mean
license.
A professional game warden, DNR professional game warden decided to approach you in a professional manner, not angry.
Well, it wasn't professional, and I don't want to cut down on the dude, but this guy kind of went Barney Fife on my ass faster than you could. Like, I was in handcuffs. He's searching my tackle box, He's like, what's this lighter for? I'm like, I don't know. Fishing line? I don't know. But, he was checking everything, checking my bait, and okay, I look at it, yes. But I was a kid. I didn't know. I didn't have any idea what the time. I just told my dad, hey, I'm going fishing down to the local stream, and he'd be like, well, come back when it gets dark, Some of you, I think Chris had street lights.
When the street lights come on.
Street lights.
You know what I mean? When them street lights start come on, you better be home.
We had a street light, but I don't know what happened to it.
You don't know what happened to it?
I don't know what happened to it. Quit working.
Oh, okay.
So, getting to that. And also my dad introduced me. My first gun was a BB gun, Red Ryder. How about that? Y'all remember them? I didn't have the fancy pump ones. You remember them ones with shoot pellets and stuff? We had the Red Ryder.
I had a fancy pump one.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. My dad's like, you got to earn it.
I also had those CO2 cartridge ones too, the handgun.
Woo! But knowing your
time.
dad, though, you were taught safety, right?
Absolutely.
I was taught safety, and then I was, how we talk about maturity boys? Yeah, I probably should have waited another year with that because I got bored shooting coffee cans, tin cans, targets. I started.
Well, you also learned a little bit about ricochet
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
my dad's truck cap.
Yeah.
Being
Oh.
out in the field, his windows on that found out that we found out about ricochet that day.
BBs break glass.
BBs can break glass, and I got talking to you on that one.
Ooh, I did a lot of stuff. I shot Tweety Bird, a couple times, and I just get bored, I'd shoot all kinds of stuff with that damn thing. Even shot my friends. Believe that.
I believe that. And this goes, if you haven't understand why we're telling you these stories, this goes back to our point of this is how important it is, especially in today's world, which is much different than,
it's not like
than
it was
what
back
we were
then.
now. It's not.
Back then, let me tell you, folks, we didn't have child locks.
No.
We didn't have, hell, I don't even think we had car seats because
We
my
didn't
mom.
I think we had seatbelts, but you weren't forced to wear them, so no one ever did.
No, now it's a
Now,
fine. But
now you
like
get
my
pulled over
mom-
for it.
My mom would hold me on her lap with the seatbelt and just be like, "Okay, let's go," in a bucket seats in the truck,
Yeah.
And then I think you mentioned one time, didn't you say you had like one of them wagons?
Yeah, the old station wagon.
Yeah.
They'd all sit in the back of the station wagon. There wasn't no seats. You would just sit literally in the back.
roll around. Yeah.
It's all kinds of crazy.
We go to the beach in the back of my dad's pickup with a cap on it. You mentioned the cap. That brought that up. And and we had like, the dining room couch cushions, the ones you can't sit on unless company's there. That room. Did you guys have one of them rooms growing up? Like you couldn't have guests in that certain room, the dining room.
With the
It was
special dining
Yeah,
room.
the special one that
Had the fine china.
Yeah.
That if anything got broken, you were dead.
Right,
That
exactly.
one? Yeah.
And
I mean,
the
everyone
couches
had
that
that
you
one.
didn't sit on because
Yes.
they had to be clean and everything was perfect in that room.
Don't mess with the wrong
No,
towels in the bathroom either.
No, and don't play with the soap. Don't play with that
Don't
little
you touch that soap.
seashell soap. You remember
Yeah.
that stuff?
The seashell soap,
Yeah, the
exactly.
seashell.
Don't you dare touch that seashell soap.
Exactly. And some of you could probably relate to that. But
Oh, that's a tongue twister. Seashell soap. Seashell soap. Seashell. Say that three times.
I'm
fast.
already screwed up. Yeah, I got a dip in. I still can't understand that. So, like, going back, it was so much different back then. It was simpler, but yet it was dangerous as hell back there. We had lead paint too, right?
Oh yeah, we had lead paint. We had a lot of things.
Oh my God! But now
that were different.
But now some parents now, I'm just speaking in my opinion. Some parents are crazy.
We're speaking in generalizations
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Oh yeah, he likes that word.
Let's go. And every time you say a big word or I do for this hill jack here, this hillbilly, we need to scream out loud or have some kind of pee.
Said the magic word.
Word. Anyways, back on point, right? So some parents nowadays are crazy. Some are like a little extreme.
I would say a little overprotective and a little want to put their kids in bubble wrap.
Right. And if you are one of them, God bless you, but it's probably you're gonna have to pay for it when they get older.
Unfortunately, like I said, in today's world, people think the overprotective way is the way to go, but the problem is when they get to 18 and it's time to live, the world does not give them bubble wrap.
Yeah, they don't give them a trophy.
They're not going to get bubble wrap when you get out there.
Right.
The world is can be very unforgiving.
But we're not shrinks.
No, we are not.
We're not doctors. We're not licensed to tell you. It's just our opinion. Okay, our opinion. But yeah, things have changed so much, but some of it for the good. Some of it, maybe a little too extreme. So it all comes down to it's the parents' decision first.
Yes.
And our opinion is y'all should go to a class,
Yes.
take a hunter safety course class, and just whether you're going to go hunting or you're not. And I know there's some schools that are actually having that as a course, which I think is pretty cool.
That is really cool. I didn't even know that one.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that one. So I just
now they
learned
have
something.
archery. They have archery classes and stuff, but they're also teaching hunter safety course in the school. It's kind of like what was that called? Driver's Ed.
Driver's Ed.
Remember where you would take that and it kind of helped you learn?
Yeah,
Some of us,
absolutely.
I don't know. I know kids that's taking.
I know some did. I didn't
Jeez.
personally take driver's ed, but I do know people that did it.
I did. It was a great time to sleep. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We go driving every once in a while.
Don't sleep through a hunter safety course.
No,
everybody.
don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Be that guy.
Or girl.
Yes. We're equal here.
Yes.
But I mean, it's kind of like that. They're doing that now, and I think that's really cool. And are they trained? Yes, they're fully trained to teach your child the safety fundamentals. Okay.
And to jump back on that other topic that we kind of touched on a little bit, as you mentioned about the funeral and the life thing. This is how I would explain it. Because again, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and like as Paul said, his daughter's 6, and she told him, he told me this a little bit earlier, was, well, Daddy, I don't think you should kill the girl deer because they have babies and you should just leave them alone and only kill the boy deer.
Right.
And he just said, well, we need to eat.
We got to eat.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess he can go that route. I went a little different route, which I think a lot of parents could use this, especially depending on where you live. It's very simple. In West Virginia, at least the last couple of years, maybe that's changing now because it seems like maybe the statistics and the numbers are starting to change now. But in the past, West Virginia had a severe overpopulation problem with deer. It was extremely bad. I think that's even why they started bringing coyotes into West Virginia to hunt the deer, because there was just too many deer. And the way I explain it to my daughter is, look, if a mama doe has all those babies, then there's no food for them to eat. What's going to happen to them?
Right.
They're going to starve. They're going to suffer. And that's, I said, when we hunt, we go, that deer doesn't even know what's happened to them. They're already gone before they feel any pain. They're out of there.
Yeah. It's just a little pinprick.
They don't even know what's happened to them when they're gone. I said, compared to weeks, months of suffering. And like I said, and that's just on the starvation. Paul made a great point when we were talking off air about, disease that can come from inbreeding, exactly. Yeah. A whole nother thing that can come into, that. So that is the best, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Okay. I would explain. I mean, that is the best way to explain it to them is, look, it's done it is for sport and we do it, but you do eat the meat and it prevents them from suffering what would, unfortunately be a painful death. And I think that a lot of children can understand that and empathize with that, and it'll help you along the way, in my opinion.
But we have friends. And we go to barbecues and stuff, and I hear some of our friends, they're like, well, I take my boy out when he was like right off the tit. I took him right out there. And, and that's fine. If that's your opinion, that's great. I'm not going to say, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, it's not a good idea. Just as long as they're teaching them the safe way to do it, not the wrong way, And hey, I'll tell you this, one time my dad we were sitting against this tree. I think I told Chris this before. We were sitting by a tree and my dad fell asleep and this buck came by and I pulled the hammer back, aimed down, and I shot, and it just knocked me for a loop. And my dad, jumped up. He's scared. He's like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, I just shot that deer right there. He's like, "No way." And then he hit me in the back of the head and then said, "Don't ever do that again unless I tell you to." But he was right there with me, and all the training that I had with him, I knew I'd just point the gun and aim, which, he didn't think I had the balls to do it, but I sure as hell showed him, you know what I mean? So that's a little story right there, kiddos, Yeah. But yeah, as far as that, it's all up to you. You just got to make the right decisions, and it's in life. We know parents that we have talked to, just mingling, they won't let their son play football till they're a certain age, and some of them just don't want them to play, period. They want them to, debate team or something?
Well, like I said, every parent, has dreams and aspirations for their child in one way, shape, or form. Everybody wants their child to do well in life, but sometimes I would say even parents can be kind of a little too encouraging into certain things, pushing them into things that maybe they don't even want to do.
It's kind of like that movie Twins. You remember? All the good stuff went to this one and all the crap went to this one. Sometimes that happens and you can't fix that. You can't. You just got to love your kids, right? What about, okay, we talked about outdoors. We talked a little bit about hunting. What about fishing? What's your opinion on fishing?
Well, my opinion is a little more aggressive when it comes to fishing because I just personally don't feel that fishing is as what's the word? Life altering as hunting is. And we go, what do you mean by that? Well, I mean, I'm no scientist or, but it's very simply when someone sees a fish get caught, it's not the same as someone seeing a deer get put down. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And the thing is, when it comes to that, I mean, it's very simply, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Fishing, you're not handling a weapon that can kill someone. You're not, or you're not having to worry about that. I mean, you can get hurt by a hook, I guess, but you're not going to really get damaged. Are you trying to say you got super damaged at fishing, Paul? Is that you're about to chime in and say?
I didn't have a sensitive moment, but you know how I am getting in a boat.
Well, that's
know what I mean?
That's a whole different. Well, that's a whole different animal. I guess you got a point there.
Right. So my wife and I, we took my daughter. I think she was, I don't know, 2 years old, 2.5, something like that. And we took her to a small little, public pond thing, but she still had life preserver on. I didn't let her bait the hook, and I didn't let her cast it because God forbid she hooks me or my wife, in the eyeball. So that could happen.
Yes.
We never took her on a boat. I think we're going to do that next year when she's like 7 and a little bit more, stable, because let's face it, kids, they don't sit still. Kids have to be moving around. They get bored real quick. At least
high energy, high energy. At
least our kids, right? But like your kid, she's like what, 7 or 8
years old
going
now.
on. I know. I forget. I apologize for that. But she's like 8.
Yeah.
And going on 21, and my 6-year-old's right behind her, because when you get those two together, oh my God, it's like Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
It's like they are mature. They're probably smarter than we are.
It's crazy.
But no, fishing can be dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
I'm not saying fishing's not dangerous or it couldn't be dangerous. I mean, you could fall and drown. You could get caught in fishing line. Yeah. I mean, that is possible. And even, I mean, we had not even about 2 years ago, a gentleman dove into one of our ponds, and he was actually I wouldn't say professional swimmer, but I believe he was a college. I cannot remember his gentleman's name. He was a college swimmer.
Yeah.
And he jumped in the pond with all that ragweed that we deal with in our ponds here out in Ohio and West Virginia, up in the northern region. He drowned. Wow. He got caught in the weeds and he drowned. He could not get out of it. Once he got in it, it got all wrapped around him, and he was unfortunately done for. Man. And so, yes, there can be danger to that sense. But what I'm getting at is you're not handling a firearm. You're not handling a bow and arrow or a gun that if you aren't paying attention and just squeeze the trigger, boom, you're done. It's as simple as that.
You remember them lawn darts? I don't know why I'm saying this, but have you ever played that lawn dart where you threw it up in the air and you just run?
I heard about the lawn darts, but that was actually a little bit before my time.
Oh, so
I didn't get privileged with the lawn darts.
He's calling me old, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what.
I played horseshoes, but not lawn darts.
Oh, horseshoes, boy, that's dangerous. But like even with a bow, I mean, we kids, if you're listening, please mute. But we used to shoot that bow up in the air and be like, bow roulette. That's true. I mean, I saw that on Grown Ups, and I was like, yeah, I remember doing that. See, it was the maturity then. It was like back then. It was like we didn't know any better. We're like, okay, we'll shoot up in the air. Everybody start running.
Which we don't encourage to do.
I didn't say. What did I just say? I said, kids, mute the ears.
Adults, listen and don't do it either. My God. We can just sacrifice the adults. Yeah, that's a great idea. I heard Paul and Chris on that old podcast there. So you could just shoot a bow and arrow right up in the air. You're good to go. Yeah. Nothing bad will happen. No. Yes, things bad can happen. You could die. Don't do it.
And just talk with your kids about safety. Tell them about the good and the bad. What could happen.
Yes.
Don't scare the shit out of them. Just, keep it simple, Just
you need to make it clear to them. Like I said, when you're out in the field and you're hunting, your first, second, third, and fourth thought should be safety. That's it. It should be safety. It should be safety, safety, safety. And that's honestly what your child should be thinking of the whole time. It's safety, 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 safety.
I'm not sure if we brought this up earlier, but we might have. But when we go out, we talk about the safety issue.
Yeah, I think we did mention that a little bit when we're out filming. Yeah. And again, we're just going to keep rehashing it because, again, circumstances if something goes wrong, you want to be in the most safe position possible to prevent something catastrophic from happening.
Right. We'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Because if you have a gun, let's say that you forgot to put the safety on, but if you don't have a barrel facing anyone and that gun falls and it falls away from everybody and it goes off, it didn't shoot anybody because no one's standing in front of the barrel, compared to no safety at all. Oh, we forgot the safety. And by the way, we had the barrel facing someone. And by the way, they've been shot and killed.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we're talking about: first, second, third, fourth, a million thoughts. Safety.
Turkey hunting. It's happened so many times that people's been shot because, they're doing, calls and someone just sneaks up behind them and shoots in the bushes. And it's like,
thought you were a turkey.
Yeah, I thought you were a turkey. I'm sorry, Bob. Let me get a Band-Aid for that.
Not to mention, on top of the sound that you're making, you also, like Paul likes to do, is you're putting a decoy out.
Yeah.
So they see, oh, there's sound and there's a decoy standing over, and his has like a special one where it moves and everything. So of course they're going, oh, there's a turkey over there. Let me just take a shot over that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had that happen. I've called a bird in. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking this bird's going to come over the hill, and then boom. And I'm like, there's another hunter? Where the hell was he at? And shot my bird. A little mad about that, folks. Still pissed. But the point is, I didn't know there was another hunter in there. So that comes down to, hey, placing your decoy. Tell your kids, look, you want to place it out from you to the right or to the left kind of way. So if someone some hill jack comes over the hill and decides he's going to unload on this freaking decoy, at least you may have a chance of avoiding getting shot. Okay. Yeah. And
yep. That's what I would agree with as well. So basically, in a nutshell, on this whole episode, if you take anything away from it, is do safety classes.
Right.
Make the right decision.
Right.
And again, it's going to be your discretion as a parent to basically solve this issue, and go at your own pace. Whatever, and don't compare yourself to, well, my kid's only 4 years old, and look at Super Bobby over there. Yeah. No, your kid don't have to be Super Bobby. All right, just do what you feel is comfortable and safe for you. Don't worry about whatever people think of you. Same thing that's one of our big pet peeves as hunters is, I don't care what you do, I'm going to hunt my way.
Right.
I'm going to film my way. I'm going to do the things in the field my way that I feel. And it'd be like, well, they got this super cool shot because they decided to climb a tree super dangerous and hang upside down.
Right.
I'm sorry, you're not going to get the super cool shot with me hanging upside down because I'm not going to be stupid. Okay. And that's ultimately what you need to think about. And don't feel shameful of your deer. It's like, oh, well, I killed only a doe. Well, so what?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Get those kids into it. If they shoot their first deer as a spike, let them do it. Let them have fun. Go out to these blinds. Nowadays we have heaters that are quiet, scent free. You can sit in a blind with your kids, have some snacks with
battery
them.
heated seats now.
Yes.
Battery heated seats.
I'm not trying to make fun of you, but you do have a battery operated jacket,
Yeah, he makes fun of me as I'm sitting there nice and toasty as he freezes because
I'm a man. Don't judge me. But anything you do, just take them out there, get them involved. We want you to get them involved. But the hunting classes that they take, man, I'm telling you,
can't stress them enough.
They're very in depth. I know in West Virginia, DNR officers are so in depth about, hey, this is the pros, here's the cons, here's the dangers, and they're really thorough about how they explain it, but they keep it simple so the kids understand.
Exactly.
They don't try to get all, scientific and all this, high maintenance kind of thing. They just simple.
Right.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple.
And you're fine.
Exactly. Okay, we see you guys over there. Our producers are sitting there jumping up and down trying to get our attention, saying, we're going over. We're going over. They're flipping out on me. We see you. Okay. We got you. Don't worry about it. We see you over there.
Squirrel. Hey, speaking of squirrels, watch out for squirrels. Teach your kid about the squirrels. Don't let those squirrels get by. They're dangerous.
Yeah.
They are. Squirrel! Yeah, they're sitting there waving back there. They're freaking going nuts.
They're losing it. So, all right.
I mean, what do we pay these people for? Do we even pay them? I'm not getting paid. You getting paid?
I don't think I'm getting paid, but they're animated over there.
They are.
Yeah, they also want to remind us of what we're going to take this opportunity to remind you
Okay.
guys to make sure to check out SRB Field Rests
Oh, yeah.
and Buck Nasty Deer Lure
Feel the nasty.
and the French Creek Game
Game
Calls. Thank you.
Calls.
Make sure you go ahead and check those out. We'll have
Awesome
links
calls.
on our YouTube channel for all you viewers out there. And,
Fancy.
we're also, on Spotify for those listeners out there. You'll just have to go to our YouTube channel too and make sure you subscribe if you haven't. I know you want to jump in about the Facebook.
I gotta say,
I know you want
I
to jump
gotta
in.
say
Go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
Because like every time you always interrupt me on this. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. See, you hear that? That was like, and Instagram. That was like my radio talk.
That's a radio voice.
Sexy. I'm a sexy hill jack. You know me. But guys, yeah, check us out. Check us out on that Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube. See our smiling, sexy faces.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell your friends about us. Share us. If you got any comments, make sure you leave comments down wherever this podcast is broadcast. Broadcast. Did I say that again?
You did say that.
I did say that.
But yeah, he's right. On the YouTube, make sure you post a comment, especially if you have any questions regarding this topic, because we will come back to it and answer any questions you may have. Or if you have any ideas for any new topics that you want us to discuss, make sure you post in the comment. We'll look into that as well.
Yeah, we sure will.
Yep.
Well, I'm Paul with Timber Talk and my co-host.
Yep.
See,
I
I said it right this
You
time.
did say co-host right. Yeah.
Chris.
Yes.
And hey, be safe out there. Stay alert. Teach those kids. Get them out in the woods. And as always, God bless you. And we will talk to you again.
Woo, you so crazy, man. I just want to pay you just to talk. Just let it talk. Let it all out. That's Timber Talk, baby. Woo!